Yes, people, welcome back to my channel at Big Steve MCFC. This is the new weekly show. Every week, 7 o'clock, I promise people, we are the South Stand. Try to bring different guests on, mix it up a little bit. I know it's pre-season and there's not an awful lot happening, but we've got to keep it regular. Joining me tonight is a good friend of mine, Manchester City fan, always at the games with us. Luke, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good. How's yourself? Hope you're all well.
I'm very well, mate. I'm a bit warm. I know that. I know Peter Kay used to say, get yourself a Solero and just fucking man up. But this is taking the piss a bit, don't you think?
It's too hot, man. Like, I'm further north than you and we struggle with it a lot more than you guys. So, yeah, it's fucking like 25 degrees here. And, like, as you can see, my glasses have steamed up after like 30 seconds. So, yeah, it's
crazy.
It's tough, but
crazy.
we'll be mourning in a few months.
We will, mate. We will. Listen, the football season is upon us. We're currently out in America for the Preseason Tour. We've had 3 solid games. I feel like we've had a very young team. And I think we've done all right. You know what I mean? The results, yeah, we've been beaten, drawn, whatever. But I feel like there's a few promising youngsters coming out of this tour who I don't think we expected. But looking at the team, Luke, who have you been impressed with the most with the youngsters?
I think Oscar Bob is the kind of outright shining star. We all seen it last season in glimpses, and obviously he's hit the ground running with pre-season to kind of give Pep a good headache. The other one that's really surprised me is Nico O'Reilly. I know you'd said quite a lot previously that he's one to watch. So based on that, I kind of had a watch, and these 3 pre-season games, he's been very, very impressive. Tall, athletic, kind of has hit the ground running as well. He hasn't placed a foot wrong, in my opinion. Obviously, there's been a few kind of things, but he's young, inexperienced. That'll come with time. And the other one, Sissoko, not a right back against AC Milan, but when he was in the midfield, he raised a few eyebrows. He impressed me a lot, and he's been in and around the squad last season. So they're kind of the 3 main standout ones for me. But every other youngster's had a solid pre-season. There's not been anyone who's kind of been like, except Calvin Phillips, although he did have a good centre-back performance against Barcelona. But other than that, there's not been anyone who I've kind of had a worry about, really.
No, yeah, Calvin's a strange one. We've spoke about it many a times. I'm bored of talking about it now. We do need to find a solution for him. Nico has been great. I've watched him for a long, long time. I think he's really, really good. And I feel like when he gets the first team around him, he can only get better. So I expect Nico O'Reilly to be in and around the squad. Pep mentioned him in the same breath as Rodri the other day and said he could help us out with when Rodri's not playing. I mean, I always seen him a little bit further forward, maybe a 10 or something. But if he can turn him into a defensive midfielder and he can just slot him in 10 or 15 minutes, end of games to see us out, give Rodri a little break, I mean, that would solve a lot of headache for us, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've seen it over the years with Pep anyway, the likes of Philip Lahm, a bit older, going into holding midfield. Joshua Kimmich was notoriously a right back as well, went into midfield again. So Pep does see qualities in him that he's probably thought, right, I can play him a little bit deeper here, the strength, the height of him for such a young child. He is a child, isn't he, compared to us? But yeah, it's just, I think Pep, if he has an idea for a player and the player listens and understands it, then, the world's your oyster in that regard. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. And, it's one of those, I haven't seen him much in kind of terms of the EDS, so I can't really say, obviously, where I see him playing. But if that's the holding midfield slot, gives Rodri a break. Maybe this is the reason why Pep and Shiki haven't looked for that kind of Rodri backup, the likes of Bruno G that was touted earlier on in the summer, because obviously, they've seen it in Nico O'Reilly that he is the one that can help out.
We spoke about it a lot as well. If you're going for a Rodri backup, there's not many top players that want to be a backup. So exactly. If they can play regular somewhere, playing in the Champions League, or they're going to come to Manchester City to be back up to Rodri, I feel like you've got to either be confident in yourself and think, you know what, I can take Rodri's place, or it's got to be someone of a younger stature who thinks, you know what, I'm not quite near Rodri yet, but I'll shadow him for a couple of seasons, and then eventually I'm going to become a player and I'm going to take his role. I mean, it happened with Rodri. He came in, Fernandinho was number one. Not many City fans said Rodri was going to get Fernandinho out the team. Fernandinho, to all his credit, started to slow it down a little bit and realised that, you know, Rodri's going to be the number one. I'll back him up. And Fernandinho just backed him up. When we needed a bit of grit near the end of games, Fernandinho came in. And the situation worked. And I feel like Calvin thought he could be that player that Fernandinho was near the end, to come in, take a bit of pressure off. But I just don't think Calvin can play that role on his own. I feel like if he goes somewhere, plays in a double pivot with someone, he could get back to his best. But if Nico Riley can fit in that position, it'll save us a lot of money, mate. A lot of money. Oh,
absolutely. I think, you know, you've seen the double pivot situation with Calvin Phillips for England. You know, he had a big help with Declan Rice being able to kind of be the legs. So, yeah, there's no question with that where he probably would be better suited. But, yeah, it's saving, 70, 80 million. I know there's a few championship clubs who have sniffed around Nico O'Reilly, and especially now with pre-season, the performance that he's putting in. But, you know, if Pep's coming out with comments like that, one, I don't think he goes anywhere. And two, yeah, it's exciting. You know, it's nice to see kind of promotion from the youth rather than just going out and spending 70, 80 million. Like, I don't agree with that comment. If we don't get a Rodri back up, we won't win the league. Pep's clearly seen something in this kid to, you know, be like, well, we don't have to spend 70 million. Because the fact is, if we did go out and spend it, there's no guarantee that Bruno G or, you know, João Neves, who's on the verge of PSG, there's no guarantee that they come in and do just as well as Nico O'Reilly could do.
Yeah, well, like Sean's putting him right here. LB reckons we don't win the league without a backup. Sean said we didn't have a backup last season. We still won it. I agree with that. I feel like Kovacic near the end of the season came and did a good job. And by the way, speaking of Kovacic, that run the other night for the second goal for Grealish was outstanding. And that's what I like with Kovacic. He's not frightened to get in them little gaps and push through. And I feel like sometimes when City are under pressure in games, he can turn in tight areas and get us out and get us on the counter-attack. And that was a prime example the other night. What a goal it was from Jack as well.
Well, we've seen it last season as well with when Kovacic was in the midfield. You know, he was the only one who was offering balls over the top to Haaland. The season before, not many people did it. And that's where Haaland was getting frustrated. Then, of course, Kovacic comes in, tries it a few times, whether or not he's been told not to keep trying it. But the effort and kind of risk was there from him. He does tend to take a risk, you know, and it works off most of the time. But yeah, I think Kovacic just came in as well, obviously had his break, and he's hit the ground running as well. He didn't step a foot out of place with the other night. So, you know, that's another option there. You know, if Rodri comes off, have Kovacic and Nico O'Reilly as a double pivot.
What do you think of the Jack Grealish situation? I mean, I worked the other night in the studio the night before. We did the press conference and we did the open training. A lot of the press were pressing Jack about the England situation. He seemed quite relaxed with it. He admitted openly that it had hurt him. We have seen him early training and doing some bits privately with that velocity training. And for me, he looks like he's got a little bit of a point to prove. And I feel like this season, there's a lot of these Jack Grealish haters who keep throwing his price tag around and all that. I think a few of them might be eating a bit of humble pie because I think he's definitely got a point to prove. His missus has got a baby on the way. I feel like that the other night at the press conference, he was very mature the way he approached it. And I'm expecting a big season from Jack, me.
Yeah, you know, first of all, I'd just like to say what a salt of the earth guy he is with that video that's going around with Emily's son.
Yes, brilliant.
Absolute, you know, he is what you want in a footballer, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch also. But for me, the one thing I really was excited with seeing him kind of turn it around was being able to take runs at people and get a shot off. We hadn't seen that much up until now, where he was a bit hesitant at times. He'd either take one touch too many and then shoot and it'd get blocked, or he'd like try and look for somebody else. But no, not the other night. He was literally getting it on the left wing, cutting in and taking as many shots as he could. And it's nice to see that because we haven't seen that from him in a City shirt at all, you know. And, you know, the mindset that he's got, I feel like he knows himself this season is, yeah, if I don't perform, I'm in trouble, or, you know, I'll be going elsewhere. And, you know, for me, he's he's an incredible player. We've seen it in the treble season, the best of Jack, but I feel like we can get that and maybe a bit more this season, should he kind of have the right mindset. And I think he does.
No, yeah, I agree. Big up the Mancunian way. Martin's in the chat. I believe he's on holiday or he's somewhere knocking about. So I hope he's enjoying himself.
Big shout out to him. He always derails my streams by coming in the comments. Always.
Does it?
Yeah, always ruins them. He's a little.
He's saying here. He is saying here that Jack, Calvin, Kovacic, and O'Reilly were great against Barcelona for me. Yeah, you can't argue with that. We just spoke about that, Martin. That them players were okay. We tried to speak about Calvin and his situation. Another player that Pep spoke of last week, McAtee. I mean, he had some kind words for him and said he's learned a lot on loan at Sheffield United. He can bring something to the team. Now, if I'm McAtee and I'm hearing that, you've got to be on cloud nine listening to Pep Guardiola say that, surely.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, there was a lot of kind of expectations around him when he signed that new contract and was then due to go out on loan and come back. And I think for me, he's at an age now where he really needs to kind of perform. And obviously, I think he's got the ability to do so. You know, Pep saying them words will only help and kind of motivate you. You know, at the end of the day, at least he's not turning around like he did with Phillips and saying that he's overweight. So at the end of the day, it's positive things. And, you know, I do feel like the experience that he got with Sheffield can definitely help him this season if he is to stay with the squad, from what I expect. Where he'll get minutes is hard to say. But if he steps up and performs, then we've got a very, very exciting player there. And I think we've seen that in pre-season also.
I got told off the other night working for City. I mentioned the
Why does that not surprise me?
I mentioned the trialist, the kid from Somalia who's playing in Troy. He's a Swedish kid, Adam Fatar, whatever he's called.
Oh,
I mentioned him. Yeah, they said about who's impressed you. I said he came on the other night. He looked lively. He was tracking back. And after it, they said, can you not mention the trialist, please? I don't think there's some sort of thing. I was like, well, if you don't want me to mention the trialist, don't fucking play him. You know what I mean? As simple as that. Because what if he goes and bangs? What if he goes and bangs an hat-trick in? Well, we're not allowed to talk about him or something. You know what I mean?
Like when you see like non-league, isn't it? Like when they put trialists out, they just literally put trialist on like the team sheet and that. It reminds me a bit like that.
Trialist B, trialist C.
I was always a trialist, but then you never see my fucking name on the sheet afterwards.
You was always on trial, you mean? You was on Crime Watch, you would know what you're about.
Here we go.
But no, it's he's honestly so they weren't too happy about that. But I feel like Callum Doyle as well has done okay when he's come in.
Yeah.
I feel like we have, it's the first time in a long time we've took a really young squad. I feel like with the Euros we lost a lot of players. But coming back into the first team now, coming up to the Charity Shield game, we know we're going to be missing a few. But can anyone tell me why Mateus Nunes is on holiday when he hardly played a fucking game? And he's got a point to prove.
He's making the most of it, isn't he?
You know, why would you not think, you know what, I'll have a quick break with the family and then I'm getting there and I'm getting myself in that midfield. I'm going to prove to that manager that I can start that season in there. But I've seen him just floating around on fucking Lilos and doing what he's doing, which, listen, anyone can have a break. But for me, I'd be thinking, let's get back at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I think it does question a lot, but I tried to kind of play devil's advocate and be in support of him and say, look, maybe he just needs a long break, kind of wants to put his head down and then, you know, give the absolute most next season. But again, he's another one who, you know, next season is going to be huge for him. There's going to be opportunities for him. We've seen it in glimpses, you know, Nottingham Forest at home, Red Star Belgrade away. There's an ability there. There's you know, an ability to play for Manchester City. But I think sometimes his mindset is a bit different to the rest of them. I think he's just happy to be along for the ride, if I'm truthfully honest. He kind of seems a bit more focused on just being around the squad rather than... But, yeah, like Martin says there, I think it's, you know, he's probably had that much football, but again, so has all the others, so you can't really say much. But, you know, as long as he comes back and puts the work in and then, you know, he's proven us all wrong and we're eating humble pie for mourning about how long he's had a holiday, then that's fine by me, Steve.
We did see Guardal at centre-back.
Yes.
Next season, back four. It's going to be interesting. Do you think Guardal is going to get a chance at centre-back next season, or do you think it's just pre-season, or do you think it's going to be Guardal at left-back again and Ake and that? I mean, what would your say we get everyone back for Chelsea, which I don't think we will, but if we got everyone back for Chelsea, what would your back four be against Chelsea? What would you start?
Oh, this is tough now. See, I think Guardal does stay at left back because I think you've got a plethora of centre backs in comparison to left backs. Obviously, you've got Ake as well, but he'd probably be.
Hello, is he still there? If we lost him?
No, I'm still here. Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. It went a bit crazy.
I think it went off. Sorry. Basically, I was saying Guardal, I think, is going to be at left back because I think there's not enough kind of plethora of left backs. You've got him, Ake, maybe Wilson's brand if he's staying. So I think it'll be Guardal at left back because of the quality we have at centre back. Not to say he's not as good as he's probably better than them when he reaches his prime. But I think it'll be Diaz and Stones should Stones be back fit. Well, like back, if you get what I mean. Because I don't think he is going to be, is he? I think the English lot have a bit of a longer break with Rodri than the others. So if we were to take Stones out, it's interesting actually. But if you say them, they're all back. Sorry, like you said. So yeah, it'd be Diaz, Stones, and then I'd have a Kanji right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the 4 centre back kind of situation has been working. And for me, Walker was questionable at times last season. You know, I don't like to get on the back of players who play consistently, but there's a few times where his kind of abilities defensively has been questioned for me. And, you know, looking how solid Akanji was during the Euros, he was probably the best centre-back in the Euros for me. You know, so he deserves to be in there if he continues that form because, you know, he looked like a completely different player. Like Pep has changed him massively over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I feel like Walker is coming to the end of his time at City. I do believe that. I do believe that his pace is a big asset to the team. It is. I do believe last season we was seeing some chinks in the armour where people were coming and cutting inside and bending the ball past the keeper, and it was on his watch. And there was a few daft times where he gave the ball away and stuff. So I will be interested to see what Pep does, whether he does start Akanji at right back, whether Rico Lewis will be turned into a right back. You know what I mean? At the minute, Rico seems to be all over the place. He played false 9 the other night at one point. So it's a bit crazy. But yeah, signings going forward. We've signed Savio. And just for people, if you don't know, there is a signing unveiling on Sunday of Savio at the stadium. I've been told that there's competition. Going? I'm working for City on, believe it or not, they want me to stay at home and commentate on all you at the signing of Savio. How does that work? So I'm working it with Alistair Mann, and we're going to talk about, we've got loads of stuff. Whether we're on the screens and you can watch it, I don't know what we're doing, but that's the plan. City fans, just let me know. Are you going? Is anyone going to see Savio and the woman's striker? Her name escapes me, by the way.
Vivian Maidama.
Yeah. Is anyone going? Apparently, this is what I've been told of City, right? There is a fun day planned. The kids, there's things going on for the kids. There's competitions. There's all sorts going on. And you can get free shirt printing of Savio or the lady Maidama or whatever she's called in the shop. I mean, for me, after my rant about New York and the lack of shirts in Manchester, I don't know how it's going to go. But
hey, you're working for me. You can't say anything too bad.
Yeah, but you know what though? It's not even about that. And my people know me. I love this football club more than anything I do. But I will call something out if I see something. I will try and make sure that the club don't take their eyes off certain things. And I got a lot of people in my comments, and I said to City, read the comments Read the room. You know, I'm not making this up. I'm not saying this because I want attention. I'm saying this because I got down to the ground. There was people queuing up for the shirt. The shirt hadn't arrived. So people were saying, well, what time's it coming? Nobody knew. And then a guy come up to me with his son and said, my son's just asked me this question, that he's looked on his iPad and he turned his iPad round and all the players were in New York doing what they're doing. And he said, when can we meet these players, Dad? Because we never get to see them. And I thought, you know what? He's right. The kid's right. It's hard to get close to him in Manchester. But then,
I think that's because of the proximity, though. Like, they live in this area, like that area. So it's kind of tough for them to want to do that because then they know they're going to get mobbed wherever they go in Manchester. That's just the way I see it. But
no, I just feel like, why can't you have an event in Manchester where you can take the kids to and they can see the players? Or they used to have signing sessions at this shop where you could, on school holidays, you could take the kids down and all that. But at the end of the day, I'm not against going to New York. I'm not saying that. Go to New York, do the tours, the fans in New York. That's great. No problem. Not got a single issue with that. That's all part and parcel of pre-season. Great. But what I was saying is, it looks bad when we're queuing up outside our own shop in Manchester and there's no kits there. Yeah. They want even a launch. Put a DJ on. Put Paul Dickov there. Put Richard Dunn there. Get Moonchester. Give out free shirt printing. Because this guy said to the woman, when I got my shirt at 12, he said, do you want printing? And he went, yeah. And he said, what do you want? He went, De Bruyne, whatever. Said, is it free shirt printing? And the woman went, no. And he went, well, it is in New York. And he turned his fucking phone round. He had an email saying, if you're in New York, it's free shirt printing. So everyone got wound up about it. Some of the American podcasters then seen their ass. I'm saying some of the American podcasters seen their ass because they tried to instantly turn it like we was having a go at Americans when it clearly didn't happen. They need to fucking listen, and stop fucking crying. Like smack tasses when people are doing favors trying to get your reputation up, but then you're bitching and not listening to the video. So that pissed me off. And then, I'm just trying to fight the cause. That's it. With a club together, it's not about, oh, you're America, so we don't like you, and you're Manchester, we don't like you. That's bullshit. But what I'm saying is the club should at least announce when the kids are off school that the kits are going on sale so you can get your kids, go down, spend 400 quid. I feel like the club missed an opportunity to earn some dough. You know what I mean?
It's not cheap, man, as well. Like, we're unfortunate in this country. We're going through a cost of living crisis, for one, or we're kind of getting towards the end of it. But, these parents who go, like, somewhere like New York, very wealthy people, let's be honest, very affluent people in the middle of Manhattan and places like that. But, Manchester, some people are living on the breadline, let's be honest. And, they're willing to take their kids to go and spend, like you said, 400 quid. But at the end of the day, like, they are the people that you want to keep close as well. It's the community that you are in. And if they're willing to spend 400 quid.
We want to grow as a club, right? That's fine. We won the treble. The treble was in the Arndale Centre for 1 day. 1 day. Exactly. Yeah. And it's gone all around the world.
A world fucking tour around like fucking Brazil for like 4 weeks.
It's like, it was hard work. But what I'm saying is, it was just very, very disappointing that nobody has thought, you know what, we can earn a few quid here. The kids are off school. Let's do a bit of a kit launch and do something for the kids. The shop, when you go in the shop now, it's like a morgue. I know it's a temporary shop, but it's shit. Right? So, and it's like, it's shit. So, there's no excuse. Now they're saying we're doing the Savio signing. Okay, that's great, right? If people are going to turn up. If nobody turns up to the Savio signing on Sunday, we are a laughingstock again, and we're a meme, and everyone's going to put it on socials, and is nobody reading the room? And if you're going to do a Savio announcement, give us something to want to go there for. Tell us the trophies are going to be there. Tell us, I don't know, someone's going to be there where we think, let's get the kids and go down there. They're going to do this. They're giving away this. They're going to do that. Why not tell us they're not? They put a poster up, Savio signing 2 p.m. Your guess is as good as mine, man.
Could be all sorts going on there, mate. Let's be honest. But even like you said there, like even having like a panel, like of ex-players, like you said earlier, like Paul Dickov, Nicky Weaver, the Richard Dunn, just like having people around that people would want to go and see as well. not just to go and watch Savio and Miedemar on a stage and be presented, actually have something where it's worth going for, an opportunity to meet somebody rather than just standing in a crowd like we did, when Alvarez, Haaland and Ortega came in and they did it. Obviously, Haaland is, one of the biggest names in world football, so of course they were going to do something like that. But yeah, I think they've gone about this the whole wrong way for me. And at the end of the day, we'll wait and see, because we probably will become a meme. Someone will start filming it as it goes live, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, no
there'll
one's
be
there."
Nobody there, and we're taking the piss. It gets boring after a bit, but the club has got to do it properly. They've got to really. It looks like there's a lack of effort. It just looks like someone's come up with an idea. We'll just do that, but no one's thought about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just feel like throughout the season, it's like my biggest bugbear was Saudi Arabia. Every time Manchester City go abroad, they roll the red carpet out for everybody out there. Great. No problem with that at all. Fantastic to see. We go to Saudi Arabia to win a trophy, the World Club Cup. A, did all the other rival fans put the tickets behind the net in a block so we're all together? City didn't. We were all over the world. And then B, 125, 150 fans went week before Christmas, and we didn't have one thing done for us by the club. Nothing. Other teams were having barbecues, fan zones, Fluminense and all that. We were just left to fend for ourselves, you know what I mean, in Saudi. And that pissed me off. But I don't know. Is the club losing touch a bit with the local support? Is it taking it for granted? Does it just expect us to turn up? Let me know in the comments, people, after the show. Let me know what you think. This is a serious question. And before anybody cries, before anybody whinges, before anyone in America gets his knickers in a twist, because I had a guy with an argument who was calling me names, and he was doing TikToks making salad in America, and he wants to call me names. I'm going 60-odd games a season, mate. Don't be calling me when you're making fucking salad on TikTok. Yeah? This is what you got to deal with. We're all on support the same team. We all want to be together, right? But in Manchester now, are Manchester City taking the eye off the hardcore supporters? Let me know, people. Let's see what they're saying here now. Right, here's another one. Lewis Hampton, the ticket stuff needs sorting as well. Well, today, that's another can of worms. I've had a lad who's bought a ticket for the Charity Shield, and today he's received an email saying, sorry, you do not fit the criteria to buy a ticket. We have sent you a refund. So they've sent him a refund for the Charity Shield. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that's about.
Did they tell him the criteria?
I ain't got a clue.
Send him what the criteria was, because that's no good. But it's even like with the away ones. Like, I know you're on certain points, and go to most. And at the end of the day, the amount of times I then see corporate that are at aways who I've never seen at a home game because they're sat in their flush boxes, or just like so many people from certain supporters clubs. But it does need looking at, I think, across the board ticketing.
The ticket situation's a mess, like you say. It's a mess. I don't think it's an easy job to sort out. I feel like you look at both sides of the coin. You've got the people that have been there from day one. They got the loyalty points. Then you've got people saying, well, how are we supposed to catch them people up? We were only born so many years ago. You get that. The 1825 was a big thing that people didn't like, but I think it worked because it brought a little bit of energy back to the away end. The treble winning season was good, but last season it dropped off a bit. So there's all sort of things they're trying to do, but they put all the tickets on sale the other day for every game, and bang, gone. No chance, gone.
But then they do it for I get this match day membership, and they pay 35 quid for the year, and they get first priority. But at the end of the day, surely season tickets members, if you're paying what I'm paying, just under 800 quid a year, for where we stand in 118. Surely, if there was spare tickets going, then season ticket holders as a priority should be able to then go, oh, actually, I want to get one for, my dad or my brother and stuff like that, before match day members who have, just because they've paid 35 quid, can get the choice, but yet we're paying 800 quid for the year. That's the only thing I don't agree with.
Zane Mercier for the 199. Thanks, Zane. But Marino, mate, nobody gives a shit about that. Thanks for the super chat, though.
Bring it on. The pressure's on Arteta next season with his Botox face.
Johnny Lara says, I think the locals need to voice up and give a pushback to the front office. How do you give feedback to the club? Johnny, nobody wants to cause any trouble because that's not what we're about. We're all Man City fans and we're all trying to make the best for the club. But it just becomes frustrating. And I don't think it's massive problems that the club has. It's just very little things that they could do to keep people sweet. My suggestion was this, pre-season. The big, massive dome at the academy. Invite the top 400 loyalty points off the list to come down on a Sunday. Get your picture took with the Premier League trophy. Watch the City treble documentary in there. Have a few ex-players dotted about. Talk about their experiences and that. And make them feel special. Just make them feel wanted. Let them have a feel of the place. Give them a tour of the training ground, whatever. That, to me, a lot of people would have seen that as a little bit of a thank you for the loyalty and the money and that they've spent the last few years. They would have gone away happy, you know what I mean? That's all it takes with these local people. But when you promise them 5 trophies are coming to the pub and you queue up for 2 hours and only 3 turn up, people are pissed off. When you tell the Blakely branch that they can't, the trophies can't come tomorrow, and then they appear in Buenos Aires, Argentina, that pisses people off. When you tell the Alkrington branch that the trophies are coming and 200 people are queuing outside and they don't turn up, that pisses people off. So anyone watching it thinks, well, you get to watch Man City every week. Yeah, of course we do, because we're here every week. It's our team. It's Manchester. No one's denying that. But when we're promised things and it doesn't happen and we have to sit back on the iPad and our kids are watching Jack Grealish and Haaland and everyone's signing autographs, no security and that. If my kid goes to near Haaland on a match day, he's getting wigged. He's getting slung, yeah? If you go to the training ground, try and get an autograph now, he's not getting near him. But they're walking around Central Park, there's Liverpool fans there, there's birds screaming and all that crying. It was just fucking mad, man. It was mad.
It was, yeah. But it is one of those, it's when you get to the size that we have, you know, it's happened with United and so on, you kind of unfortunately try and... Yeah, massive. Yeah, Bevo makes a very good point there. And for me, it's just a case of, let's not hope they forget the locals and forget their roots, you know, because at the end of the day, we were all here when, you know, we were on the brink of not existing. So, you know, for all the success that
I've spoke to people there. You've got to remember that not everybody that works at Manchester City is a City fan. Not everybody that works at Manchester City gives a shit. You know, that's in any organisation. But we're trying to keep it. We're trying to keep that hardcore support in there, because you know what'll happen. Listen, if Manchester City at a bad patch and we have 5 or 6 seasons out of that top 4, things will change rapid, and then you will see what we're talking about this hardcore support. And I think the club have just got to realise that, you know, this fan base have been here for some years. You've got to keep people happy. When I hear people saying, they come up to me at the match, you've seen people mithering me at the match. I can't do anything. I don't work for the club like that. I do a little bit on the entertainment side, but it frustrates me. And I think, you know what, something so simple as just a DJ on and a bit of something at the souvenir shop could just make it look like Man City are doing something in New York. They're doing something in Manchester. Do you know Palermo, which is our club, had their kit launch in Manchester that day? But they can do that for Palermo in Manchester, but they can't do it for Manchester City. So strange, man. Strange.
Or it's like when they fucking brought the, you know, Bahia squad over, do you know, the Brazil club that we won? And then had that fucking singer on the stage. And then he sang fucking Blue Moon at the start.
No, it's mad. It's mad. It's mad. Justin, Big Steve, any more content coming on this channel? Yes, mate. Obviously, the season will start and we'll do stuff on here. Let me know what kind of content you want. This show's going to be live every Thursday. So every Thursday, regardless, we'll be talking what we want on here. And we ain't sugarcoating it on here. If you've got a problem, we'll talk about it. Doesn't matter if we do things for the club. We're not slagging the club. This is criticism, creative criticism. This is like constructive criticism, so we can actually work and build bridges, and people from the club can watch it and think, you know what, they've got a good point there. Yeah, let's do this, let's do that. We've got to always remember we're on the same team, all of us, no matter what country you're in, no matter where you are, we are all in the same team. Yeah, but that doesn't mean we're not allowed to have a moan if we think something's not right. That is just the truth, people. But we're trying to create a good show here, a really good show that we can just say it how it is, get excited about the season, no hate. We've got our mods in the chat and that. And like Martin just said then, there has to be balance. There has to be balance. Balance is the word, Martin. Well done. Let me grab this super chat a second here. This is from Dees. I'm a season ticket holder who travels up from Oxfordshire every home game. I've got 10k points. Can't get away ticket. Ticks me off seeing the tourists at the game. Yeah, it's unfortunate, Dees. It is. All I can say is, mate, get into him with the email and let us know what's going on. You know what I mean? Mad.
Well, it's like me. I travel from Middlesbrough as well, don't I? So, you know.
Big up Mancuni Way. Definitely, mate. I'm going to phone you later. We'll try and get you on next week if we can.
In terms of content, Big Steve said he's doing an OnlyFans as well. You told me that.
OnlyFans? Listen, if the money's right, I'll do it. Big Steve, any chance you do a few rival previews for the season? Yeah, we can do. We can do. We can always do that. I
want to see you do the boxing with Anfield Agenda. Just snap him in half.
Yeah, this is one here. Oh, him, the Anfield Agenda guy. He's boring, him, man. I was getting a Manc talk before the Community Shield. Yeah, we're getting a Manc talk before the Community Shield. I'm going away the Community Shield night, so I'm either going to go to the game straight to the airport or I'm going to swerve it. But I actually missed Chelsea away because I've had to book a random flight the night of that Chelsea game. So I've given my ticket away for that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the season, Luke. There's always a panic with lack of signings and that, but people need to realise that the team is good. We have got a good squad. You know what I mean? We've got to relax.
Yeah, and you've also got to think, like I've said this on my stream a few times, right? We had Kevin De Bruyne out for 6 months. He just came back towards the end of the last season. That's a new signing entirely, him back fit. You know, Jack Grealish was in and out of the squad with injuries. You know, he had a few personal things that went on. And obviously Doku performed, so he got in the squad. So there's another kind of player coming back in and into the fold. And then, you know, you had John Stones who was in and out of the squad as well, you know, towards the back end of the season. So in essence, there's 3 players who are going to come back consistently as well. So, you know, people who were moaning about these signings and wanting the likes of Musiala and fucking, you know, Florian Wirtz.
That's not going to happen.
Exactly. And, you know, that's only going to happen if one goes out for one to come in. You know, if Kyle Walker was to go to Saudi Arabia or something, let's say, then City would bring a right back in. It's not just going to be a case of...
Let me just mention this. Humongous says he couldn't care less about DJs or kit launches. Fans who live within 30 miles of the ground will be there regardless of what goes on. We need cheaper tickets for the diehard Blues. Well, there lies the problem, Humongous. So if you're saying you don't care about that, what about a guy that's got 3 kids who are all City fans and they're mithering him every day? Dad, take me to the shop. I want to see Ireland. I want to see Grealish. Just because you're sat at home and you want cheaper tickets, that's the problem you've got. But it doesn't mean there isn't a problem with the kids. So this is why it has to be balanced. So, A, why can't we have DJs and kit launches and razzmatazz? And why can't we have cheaper tickets for the diehard Blues? It's all got to work together. But what I'm saying is, don't take the dreams out of the kids in Manchester. Don't take them for granted because they've got to have some sort of heroes in their life. They can see them at the Etihad, of course they can, but they need to get up close and personal. And I agree with you. Cheaper tickets for the diehard Blues. But FFP has killed that. FFP has killed it because instantly our turnover, match day revenue is behind the London clubs because our match day tickets are 60 quid and the London teams are 120, 150 quid. And for FFP's turnover based. So Man City have got to get the turnover up. That's why. Do you think Sheikh Mansour, right, before FFP, he used to do kits for £1 for the Carabao Cup. He used to do kits for 10, 15 quid if you bought so many tickets because he didn't give a shit. But the Premier League are that greedy. They've changed these rules. That's why these tickets now are so expensive. And mark my words, in the next couple of years, that away cap, 30 quid cap, that saves a lot of people. If we didn't have that 30 quid away cap, I don't think I could be, I'll be honest, I don't think I could go to all them games. I wouldn't be able to afford it.
No, I think like the London clubs, especially if that away ticket wasn't capped, you're looking at like 80, 90 quid for a London one. No doubt that they'd be putting it at that price.
Do you think, remember the American at Luton, he said if City drop it, go and take spot as well to shame man can't do that. Jesus Christ, I didn't know about that. That's crazy, that. Don't forget Rodri missed matches due to being banned. Yeah.
I think it's international, isn't it?
before a game and get the actual songs played. Yeah.
Yes.
But we wanted the Boys in Blue played, and they played it for 30 seconds, and just before the chorus kicked in, when everyone was going to sing it, they turned it off and put some fucking jungle remix on. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. Do you know what I mean? I think we need to bring in kids to learn off the older ones. Walker no backup doesn't make sense. Yeah, well, Rico Lewis could be the backup there. We don't know. But we've had our moment. This is what we're here for. We're fans. We're allowed to do that. If we think something's not right, we're allowed to call it out. But overall, going into the season, the chat, let me know. Do we need any more signings? Tell me where we need to buy. You know, are you panicking about the season, thinking we haven't strengthened? Is there going to be a late rush in the window? Do you feel like one deal could spark a bit of a domino effect in the Premier League? I mean, what do you think, Luke? Bruno Guimaraes was linked. What do you think about that deal?
I think from what I've kind of read into, Bruno, obviously there was interest and it was agreed like personal terms very early on in the season, summer transfer window. But I think it's just for him. I don't think he wants to kind of ruin that rep with Newcastle, for one. I don't think he wants to push any move. You know, if City would have came in with the 100 million release clause, then he probably would have came. But I just think it's done and dusted now. He's back with pre-season with Newcastle, and it would have been a good one to have. But I feel like if it's not done this summer, then it's never happening, I think.
No, I get it. Martin says, I would like a midfielder, to be honest, happy for Nico, but fans don't turn on him if he does struggle. He's a kid. Yeah, that's always a worry. Yeah. I don't think the majority of City fans would do that because he's a local boy. He's been with us since he was 6. But there is that worry that certain people get entitled and they start like getting on his case. But listen, we've got the best manager in the world. Let's trust him. Let's see what he decides. We've pulled a Kanji out the act late on in windows. We got Doku last year. It could be another case, you know, where we're just weighing up the market, waiting to pounce. There might be a situation, someone might be struggling with FFP and thinking they're not going to make it. And, you know, I think City are in a good position. But the worrying part is the first couple of games, whether we've literally got the players back in time. I mean, Chelsea away is going to be tough, but Ipswich at home, no disrespect to Ipswich, you think we'd beat them, but Chelsea away could be a bit of a nightmare if we've got no team. What do you think?
Yeah, it could be one. I mean, at the end of the day, oh, is he gone? Are you there, Steve?
We're back. No, we're back.
You keep disappearing, my friend. I think Chelsea will be a tough one. You know, anyone who kind of reads into this pre-season game that we've got against them on Saturday and thinks that that's going to be the game, then you're sadly mistaken. But yeah, it'll be tough. It's away, Stamford Bridge. You know, it's a bit of a kind of tough ground to go to. You know, in previous history, and yeah, it could be. I think it's also interesting though. It'll be very, very kind of nice to see who's going to be starting out, and then obviously that may potentially be the lineup for the next couple of weeks. But it gives players a chance to kind of just show what they're worth, and you know, the ones that have performed pre-season, you know, if they're performing the Charity Shield, then you know they could have their shot at Chelsea, and if they perform there, then you know it's quite exciting for me. I think more than, but there's also the worry, you know, that if we start off badly like we normally do, you know, we don't normally lose often, but if we drop quite a few points early on, you know, is someone like Arsenal going to kind of run away with it so early on?
Yeah, I feel like that. We've got to make sure we're in the mix early doors. First of all, just let me mention my new sponsor. Anyone who's announcement that has ever been seen. We're talking. I'm back. Don't know what's going on today with this internet. Are you back? Are you back?
Yeah, I can hear you.
The stair specialist, but I've been told off the stair specialist that is wrong. It's the stair minus the S, but blame Daps because he.
You've gone again, Steve. Oh, the stair specialist clearly weren't happy with him, so they've cut him off.
No, he keeps coming, but I've got the signal's fine. I don't know what's up with it. Anyway, listen, right, okay, I think we'll end it there because it's bugging out. Luke, thank you very much for coming on,
Anytime.
mate. It's been a pleasure, and it's great to see you looking fresh-faced and doing these shows. It's really, really good. And me and you will catch up next season. But let everybody know where they can find you, mate. Let everyone know where they can find you.
Oh, is this my chance to? I now have a channel, City Luke TV. Just recently started, a couple of months ago. You know, just doing the same as everyone else is doing. You know, your match reviews, previews, watch-alongs, and it's been going really, really well. So you know, hopefully some of you can come across and join the audience and support. And hopefully we'll have the big man here, Big Steve, on soon enough. You know, it'll be an absolute pleasure, and it's always a great privilege to be invited on. So, you know, as some may know, Steve's not just, you know, a good friend in the YouTube scene. He has helped me a lot personally behind the scenes, and, you know, I don't want to go into it too much on here, but, you know, if it wasn't for Steve, probably, you know, at games, then I might not have turned my life around. So I just want to say, you know, from the bottom of my heart, what an incredible person he is, not just what you see on the camera, but also what I see in person. You know, there's not a better blue to kind of promote this this club of ours, and you know, it's a real honour to say that he's not just a YouTube colleague, but he's also a great friend of mine. So that's all I have to say, Big Steve. So thank you very much for
No, I
having me
appreciate
on
that,
there.
mate. But listen, you did it yourself. You're an inspiration to a lot of people now. I've been watching your streams. There's a massive difference in what I'm seeing. And just keep it going, mate. Keep your head down, focused.
Yes,
we're all together. We're all Blues. And everybody, please, if you're in and around the Etihad on Sunday, go and see Savio. Yeah, go and see Savio. If you've got a cardboard cutout or a mannequin from a shop, dress him up in the gear, bring him to the stadium, stick him there. Let's make it look massive, yeah? No, seriously, live. If you're there, go and see Savio at the stadium. If not, then tune in on City TV. I'll be live on City TV tomorrow night. Please tune in. And thank you for tuning in to We Are the South Stand. Hit the like button, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and we'll see you soon. Up the Blues.